Oh, that's true. Hey, here we are.
Whatever.
We're live. Yeah, Steve Metrics, your boy.
DJ TRIGGS.
DJ,
well,
yeah.
I'm going to flip us. There we go.
There we go. Yep. And tonight we're here. We're No Debate Sports. And we're here together rocking out some Monday Night Football. Here we are, 7 o'clock Central Time. So you can always remember, hey, when Monday Night Football starts, you can stream us right alongside Monday Night Football. You can get the best of both worlds with No Debate Sports and the NFL. So here we are. We got some Jets-Bills action kicking off the game tonight. And yeah, so pretty interesting stuff. We got Aaron Rodgers debuting as a Jet. And then you have the Bills, who are this juggernaut that are deemed to repeat again as AFC East champions. But we'll see. So it's kind of where we are with that. What do you think about the game tonight, Triggs?
Oh, I am definitely picking the Jets. So, like, I might be against a lot of Packer fans and whatnot, but yeah, I think the Bills just don't look the same. They don't look the same.
Yeah, there's definitely something different about that team, and I definitely see like not having Tremaine Edmonds on defense. I see that playing a massive part in their scheme of things. I mean, you and I definitely like Micah Hyde, being that he was a former Packer, but even he's definitely starting to get up there in years. And I know they're kind of moving around some pieces defensively with their lineup. I know there's no DeMar Hamlin tonight, so they're really shaking their lineup in a way that it has a veteran presence and a mindset to be able to be familiar with the quality of play that Aaron Rodgers is going to present. And I think at the end of the game, I just don't think they're going to be ready for it.
Right. I agree. It's something different. And then, you're looking at Aaron Rodgers on the other side of you. So it's not it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a lot more fun to watch compared to Buffalo and New York Jets games before. But, that's the fun of football.
It is. And we'll see what pieces make an impact here tonight for the Jets. Oh, wow. Boy, those Jets uniforms, they look pretty fire tonight. I'll tell you that. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. But yeah, it is pretty cool. They got the Shamrock helmets, and you got the white and greens. Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. But yeah, I mean, I think having Dalvin Cook is a huge upgrade to that run game they have. I mean, Breece Hall is great, but man, ease that guy back. I mean, Zonovan Knight is a fine back. Or actually, no, I think they released him. So it's Michael Carter and Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. So yeah, I think they have a nice quality backfield. They can definitely rotate guys in and out. You have the great pass catching ability of Dalvin Cook. I watched the Vikings game earlier today, and yeah, you can tell they definitely miss Dalvin Cook. I mean, there's some nice Alexander Madison runs, but that team almost abandons the run. I mean, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and how, like, almost back in the day when he went X-1 with the Green Bay Packers, and then that season they lost to the Giants in the playoffs, and they just basically abandoned the run. And I saw that with the Vikings, and I think that missing piece of Dalvin Cook is really going to show up with the Jets tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the running game is really big, and Buffalo is not very equipped to run. They were in on the Dalvin Cook sweepstakes a little bit. We've heard a lot about them with JT as well. The Jets are they're poised to make this a slowed down game. Rodgers he's not gonna throw interceptions. He's not gonna turn the ball over. He's not gonna force anything. He's gonna get it out of his hands quickly. Like, I don't know. Buffalo could be in a world of trouble. But who knows? I mean, you're in New York, so it could be different. It could be a whole blowout. Not as bad as some of the other games we've seen this week, but who knows? Anything can
Yeah,
happen.
absolutely. Anything can happen out there. I mean, last time I really saw the Bills' first team out there was against Pittsburgh, and I know Pittsburgh was in a world of hurt over the weekend against the 49ers. That is a game we will be
Ooh.
covering tomorrow. We're covering about half the games from the weekend tonight, and we'll be covering the other half tomorrow night. So we'll get you every game. We'll give you a real in-depth analysis and get you some quality takes on what actually happens in the game. So Triggs and I, we catch as much action as we can from these games. We don't just look at the social medias or the TikToks or whatever to just see what's going on. We actually dig deep, pretty deep into these games. So we want to get you the best content out there and really know what we're talking about. So that's what we're going to get you guys. So we got that. We'll be coming back to these games in a little bit. Also, over the weekend, we had some big basketball action, on our YouTube page with our shorts. And yeah, we had a pretty darn good game between the Americans and the Canadians. So, what all happened in that one, Triggs?
Oh man. Yeah, it was something else. I mean, I I don't even know how to start because it's just that insane. Like this was one of those games. I mean, obviously, the score. I can't even talk. That's how excited I am. The score
Yeah,
shows that Canada won by 9, 127 to 118. But
right.
like, it actually went into overtime,
Sure.
and it was crazy. I mean, so there was a point where it was tied. Shea Shea Gilgeous Alexander grab ball, does a couple moves, hits a step back, drops Mikal Bridges to the floor, hits a mid range jumper, and you're like, oh, okay. No, the first one he just stepped back. The second one that he stepped back and hit a three. Oh my gosh. You literally were like, wow, the US doesn't have anyone to match that. Anthony Edwards
Yeah.
was doing his best. I mean, like Shea ended up with like 31, I want to say, and 12 assists. Actually can pull that up really quick.
He's basically the best player on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, absolutely the best player. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks ended
Yeah.
up with
That's,
39. Like
yep.
I was like,
Wow.
this is nuts. Hit
That's quite the
7
lineup they got there.
three-pointers.
Yep.
Uh, and then like you look at RJ Barrett was doing his thing. Lou Dort came in anytime that Dylan Brooks sat down, which was very, very few minutes. Lou Dort took
Sure.
his spot. Plus, they played them side by side for a little bit. And
Okay.
basically, they were letting you know, like, we're here to win this game. Like, they
Sure.
were, I mean, Kelly Olynyk's actually the captain of Team Canada, and he only played
Sure.
11 minutes. But like it's one of I'm just gonna put this down for a second. Literally, it ends up with that mid-range shot from Shea, and you're like, okay, they're up two, like this could be cool. Couple plays later, they ended up being up by like 4. I think Dylan Brooks hit a couple free throws, I want to say. And you're like,
Okay.
okay, there's basically nothing that can happen. Mikal Bridges gets fouled, and you're like, okay, he's gonna hit these 2 free throws. We're just gonna chalk this one up. Canada's gonna win. So he looks back, which made me laugh so much. He looks back at Steve Kerr and asks him which side of the rim he wants him to miss the free throw. And like Steve Kerr just goes, I don't know. Like, do whatever you want.
Wow.
So he hits
Yeah.
the first free throw. He then, and this is what upsets me about a lot of the young players in the league, especially, I mean, Canada was full of NBA players, the US is full of NBA players. So he goes for the free throw, misses off the right side. Nobody, no one boxes out the free throw shooter, which is like Pee Wee basketball 101.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mikal Bridges gets his own rebound into the corner, a la Ray Allen for the Miami Heat against the Spurs, smacks
No
a
way.
three, and we go into overtime. And I'm like,
Jeez.
uh, what just happened?
So
And
we had that game won.
no, we had
Had
it
that been
lost.
boxed out?
We had it
Oh.
lost. If Canada
Oh,
would have
okay.
boxed out, it would have been over right there. Mikal Bridges
Gotcha.
hits that three for us. Bang, right?
Wow.
We then go to overtime. So now I'm thinking, okay, Mikal Bridges is hype. Anthony Edwards is hype. We're good. Like,
Yeah.
we just hit that three. Like, everyone's going to be excited. And what have I complained about the entire World Cup?
Size.
Lots of one-on-one ball, no rebounding. And Shea was on the other side and basically shredded us during the overtime. That's when he hits that step back three. And I was like, yep, that's the end of this game. Like,
Yep.
There's no coming back from that. And you have guys like Austin Reeves. I mean, I'll show you their box score too.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves had you look at his box score, he has 23 points. But when you look at that, Austin Reeves should not be your second best scorer when he's coming off the bench.
No. Yeah. He should be in the 4 or 5 slot on a good night.
Especially with some of these guys. Oh, do you notice who's missing from this box score?
Paulo Banchero?
That's one. Number two, your former starter, BI, Brandon Ingram, who complained about not getting shots and not being himself.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Didn't play.
He's like, I'm done? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
basically. Like,
Gotcha.
And this, and I'm not gonna go on it. Maybe I should make a banner that says Triggs' minute.
Yeah.
That I don't mean to go on a tangent, but this bugs me so much about the young guys and today's NBA compared to back in the day. And I don't even mean back in the day like 80s and 90s for sure then, but like even early 2000s, like you're in the bronze medal game of the World Cup. It's Drake's time. Exactly. You're in the bronze medal game of the World Cup. Unless you literally hurt something, why are you not playing?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like, play out. It means something. It really does.
Something. Because now every other country is going to be like, oh, yeah, we can smash them. And now the fun part is you won't get an invite to that Olympics team where LeBron is bringing the entire Monstars team,
the
right?
Monstars,
The Space Jam, like
Yep.
All-Stars. Like, you're not going to get that invite because you basically backed out of a bronze medal game. And you were in the bronze medal game because of you. I don't get it.
Yep.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, and you're even more spot on because I know Brandon Ingram was one of the guys that LeBron sent elsewhere way back when to land Anthony Davis. So he already is on the wrong side of that list or that stick for LeBron James. And I even think even now, like, that's probably even worse branding for Brandon Ingram with the Pelicans. And now it just kind of shows that they got multiple guys that have real character issues. And it seems like that's a real problem with that franchise is for whatever reason, they get these really good players that have these real flawed leadership character issues with the Pelicans when really it's a good city, a good town. It's a passionate fan base, even though we know they're more passionate about football. But man, it seems like the Pelicans, they got things rolling for them now, and it just takes time. I mean, they are owned by the Bensons, who own the New Orleans Saints. They're going to put a quality product out there, and I really like their head coach. I love the direction they're going in. They pushed Phoenix to 7 games in the playoffs. They're a really solid team. So I just don't like seeing these high-end players just really not having good character, and they're representing the New Orleans Pelicans.
Right. And the thing, like, I mean, that's just it's so sad because that team is loaded. Most people don't recognize how loaded they are. Um,
Yep.
Jose Alvarado at the point, CJ at the CJ McCollum at the 2, Brandon Ingram at the 3, Zion at the 4. Like you have some like all three those three wing guys and with Zion included can put
Yep.
up 20 to 30 points any given night. So you're
Exactly.
talking 60, 70, 80 points between three guys.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. That's
just
a ton of
really
points.
sad.
Yeah. Yeah. So for a guy like Brandon Ingram, who could easily step up and be at least the 1, 2, or 3 on a U.S. basketball team and really shape up his character, it sucks. I mean, I kind of compare that to the NFL. I've been hearing rumblings that there's something going on with the Chicago Bears and Chase Claypool. Something going on there. I know there's something going on with the Patriots, and there was a young quarterback with the Carolina Panthers from Ole Miss, Matt Corral. I actually really like that guy. I like what I've seen out of Matt Corral over the last few seasons. But he's another guy that they've lost contact with him with the Patriots. So it really sucks. These guys are really good players, and you just want to see them step up and really lead and be real quality people with the quality of play that they put out there on the field and the court.
Oh, and one more big thing here. Let me pull this back up. Bobby Portis plays 20 minutes.
Okay.
Walker Kessler plays 16 minutes. How come these guys haven't been playing all World Cup?
Yeah. Aren't these some of the
Like,
biggest players you have on your team?
yep. And Walker Kessler is known for his defense. So that is
Yeah,
what
you
he's
need it.
known for. Bobby Portis
Yep.
is known for hitting 3-pointers.
Yep.
Like
Yeah, he's clutch.
he was 5 for 6 from the field. Like,
Hmm.
and why haven't these guys been playing? Like, just
Exactly.
completely blows my mind. But
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I could go on
That's
basketball forever. So
I know. I know. Yeah. So yeah, we definitely love talking hoops here, and we got a lot more to do with that as the season approaches. And for now, we got some Monday night football action. So it looks like the Bills Jets just started. Looks like the Bills are just beginning to drive. They are kind of in the middle of their own side of the field at the moment. So yeah, they're working some stuff, kind of working some. I think this is Stephon Diggs out of the backfield. I want to say something like that, but we'll see. A lot of stuff going on with that game, but we have a lot of other games that we're talking about. So yeah, I mean, let's start off with one of our favorites, especially with us being Wisconsinites. Let's start off with Bears Packers. Since that's a pretty intriguing game that was pretty much across the entire nation on Fox in the late afternoon yesterday. So pretty cool stuff with that. What do you see with that game, Triggs?
you, this smashing by the Green Bay Packers, is that what you're talking about? The 38-20?
Yeah, I'm talking about it. I mean, like that Packers defense, they totally balled out. That Packers defense against the bad offensive line of the Chicago Bears was clear as day. And it basically looks like the Chicago Bears did absolutely nothing in the offseason to address it. I mean, I know they had
Oh,
a good draft by certain people's standards, but you saw that team out there and it looked identical to the team that played last season, except it looked even worse in the passing game. There was very little stuff going on downfield with Justin Fields, and Fields has a cannon of an arm. And I don't know what's going on with that passing game, but they need to like unleash that guy. Or Green Bay's secondary is that good.
could be a little bit of both because the guy did not make any passes over like 5 yards. It was nuts. Like,
Yeah.
every time he basically looked like he just wanted to run the ball.
Yep.
My favorite play of the whole day, Lucas Van Ness, the rookie linebacker or defensive end pass rusher,
Yes.
out of Iowa, I want to say. He
Yes.
literally chased him down, and I was like, "Oh, hey, there's that rookie. All right, first round pick. There we go." Like,
Yes, I've fully supported that pick. The Lucas Van Ness, I mean, they ranked him as like one of the top 5 edge rushers of the entire draft. I know
yeah,
he's up there with the Will Anderson of the Texans and my guy Tyree Wilson. Lucas Van Ness was right up there with him, so it's pretty cool to see that. But yeah, Green Bay just looks solid all day. It seemed like there was real shadowing out of Jair Alexander with DJ Moore. There were like 2 catches from him at the start of the game, and then nothing much after that.
that was it.
I did kind of like the way Chicago was running the ball at times. I felt there were times where Khalil Herbert had some moments, and there's absolutely, I think, the angriest run of the weekend. I mean, granted, I still have half the games to watch still, but there's a play where Roshan Johnson goes Rochambeau and just unloads. Like, that is the play, man. Like, if you haven't seen the Roshan Johnson play, I mean, even though it's a loss, we might have to put Roshan Johnson on our no debate notes when we upload that short the next day or so. And that's your guy,
This
Triggs.
guy,
That's your rookie of the year, man. Like, I think he's going to happen.
I told everybody during the draft, I was like, this is the guy. Like, he's gonna get
Yes.
some run at some point. And at the second half of that game, when he came in and just started smashing people, I'm like, oh, uh-oh. Like,
Yeah.
this guy is a bowling ball.
Exactly. And the thing is, too, like, a big theme that I've seen with all these games I've been watching is the defense definitely has a leg up. These teams, plenty of them are coming into the season rusty. They are not starting their starters as long as they should in the preseason, and it shows. I feel the Chicago Bears absolutely should have been playing Justin Fields way more. Probably he needs at least the same amount of time that the Chiefs really utilize Mahomes in that first team offense. I think that's what it really takes for a young guy like Fields to really get used to playing out there. So yeah, to me, I think they looked rusty. And on top of that, I do think Green Bay is a really good defense. So there's that going on as well. So yeah, I think I just don't think this Bears offense is going to stay this bad throughout the season. I really don't. I think they're going to figure it out. We know the arm that Justin Fields has. They just got to change it up. They have to get better at it. They have better weapons. I don't know what's going on with Chase Claypool. I've heard some weird things about him. I drafted him, then I dropped him immediately in our fantasy league. So there's something going on there. Yeah, I don't know. The running back crew that they have is solid. So I think they can run block better, but they need to pass protect better too. So I think the thing they should kind of look at, and this will probably be the next game we talk about, is they should look at how the Ravens offense works. I don't know if you caught much of that game, but the Ravens have a very weird offense, and they basically are the Chicago Bears of the AFC, except they have probably a better defense. So they have a better defense, but they have almost identical similarities on offense. They don't have much passing out of Lamar Jackson. He kind of scrambles, but he's probably a better passer now than he is a scrambler. And they got these weapons on offense, and they kind of run the ball well. So that's kind of my comparison.
But before we turn the page on Green Bay, because
Yes,
Packer fan and all that,
exactly.
the Packers defense like is so good. But Gary did not play the entire game.
Oh,
He played only
wow.
third down on specific passing down Yeah, Rashawn Gary did not, and he was smashing every time he was in there. I think they were just like,
Okay,
pin your ears back and go, because
sure,
he was all over the place in the backfield.
right.
So that's something fun to look out. Um, but yeah, with Baltimore, yeah, they did really well on the ground. I mean, it's not going to show in the box score very much, just because they
Yeah,
tore Houston apart 25-9.
yep,
I mean, Houston didn't score in two entire quarters, so that's one of those
yeah,
problems. But J.K. Dobbins going down, and I'm pretty sure I think it's for the rest of the season, is just
yeah. It's a
so
torn Achilles.
like it's so messed up. It happens to him every week. Yeah, or every
Yep.
year, I should say. Like I
Yeah,
don't know what it is, but they can't keep running backs on the field.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of looking like that's kind of the way they're going with guys. This could be a potential landing spot for Jonathan Taylor. And going back to the Packer game as well, I watched the play and it's boy, it hurt. It hurt watching that play where Aaron Jones catches this amazing slot receiver pass from Jordan Love and just runs scot free into the end zone. And right as he reaches the end zone, he comes with a pulled hamstring and just runs into the tunnel. And that's going to be a lingering issue for Aaron Jones now the rest of the way out. So
Oh,
I think,
he said he was
yeah,
fine though.
he said he was fine. Okay.
They
Yeah,
said
he
he was
said,
fine. Yeah,
okay.
and he would have come back into the game, but they were already blowing him out.
I gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, hopefully all is right with that, but I mean they'll figure it out. They'll do some things. But the thing is though, Green Bay was a few weeks ago was the mystery team talking to the Colts about Jonathan Taylor. I do wonder if those talks re-engage. And maybe there is a deal dealt for whether it's AJ Dillon or Aaron Jones. I think that's a real possibility, and that is part of how that deal is going to happen.
That I did hear that.
Yep.
I did hear about that. But they kind of dropped some nuggets during that Fox broadcast about AJ
Okay.
Dillon, because if you notice, they didn't really use him very much until like the second quarter. Then they stopped using Aaron Jones, and Dillon was like he wasn't doing anything. And Jones came back in, caught that pass you're talking about, and then was out the game. But the game was kind of over by that point,
Over.
um, because the Packers
Yeah.
completely dominated the third quarter.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
they made kind of a comment about AJ Dillon and his contract at the time.
Yeah. I think that would probably make sense that it would probably be Dylan who gets sent because Taylor brings in some of that power, but he also has that
Yep.
amazing catch passing ability that Aaron Jones has. So when you utilize the two of them, it's almost like confusing your opponent because you don't know what scheme they're really going to be running, especially like RPOs and stuff like we've seen Jordan Love do. So it's kind of confusing. I like it. Plus, there's that third running back the Green Bay Packers have, so you can always fall on that guy as well. But I think in order to land Jonathan Taylor, you're going to actually have to give up an asset. It's not going to be picks. It's not going to be straight lotto scratchers to land Jonathan Taylor. He's too good. They have to get something in return. And watching that Colts game as well, it just felt like that running back Jackson, Deion Jackson, was doing a lot, but he wasn't doing it efficiently. Like they need a solid running back. So I just felt that Jonathan Taylor would have been a huge benefit for the Colts in this game. I mean, there were moments that I saw Anthony Richardson play better. I still think his passing definitely needs to get developed. But man, there's definitely something going on there with the Colts. The fact that they were competing against the Jaguars, I was very surprised by that. I thought the Colts defense kind of stepped up a little bit here and there, but man, like yeah, you can just feel that like they're really missing Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, it shows. Let's see here.
Yep.
The game was, I mean, it was pretty close. Jacksonville kind of pulled away in the fourth quarter. But
Sort
yeah,
of.
like you said, they hung in there. It was Anthony Richardson showed up, especially what he could do with his legs. Deion Jackson, yeah, that guy's. I thought he could be a fantasy asset, and it's not looking like it.
No, not at all. Yeah, that's definitely a bummer there. But there were some interesting things with this. I mean, definitely with Anthony Richardson, I feel like his eyes, like he just needs to make better reads on the field, make better progressions, and he's got the perfect head coach for that. So I think give him a year's worth of time to actually play. And yes, he did get hurt at the end of the game, but if he's out there and he can just learn and keep developing and progressing, I think that's going to do him a lot of good going into year two. So that was the kind of stuff I saw. And for actually both teams in this game, both of their pass protections stunk. Jacksonville still has bad protection for Trevor Lawrence, and the Colts still have a bad offensive line pretty much all the way around. So that was the one thing I noticed. One good thing I noticed for the Colts, they pretty much shut down Christian Kirk. And I know the Jaguars offense is now revolving more around Calvin Ridley and whatnot, but Christian Kirk was the number one receiver for the Jaguars at the end of last season. His Bono value actually ranked really well with us last year. And if we brought it into the postseason, I guarantee it's even better. But I thought it was pretty impressive that whoever their nickel corner is had excellent coverage on Christian Kirk that entire game. So I think that's pretty good stuff there.
The bad part is Calvin Ridley had 11 targets and Zay Jones had 7 targets. They combined for like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Christian Kirk got shut down, but everybody else went off.
Yeah, everyone else goes off, and even like Travis Etienne catches some nice passes. It seemed like Evan Ingram was working more outside, kind of doing those kind of like outside hook routes that kind of even Calvin Ridley was doing. So yeah, I mean it was pretty interesting. But like the whole offensive concept that revolved around Christian Kirk last season is pretty much scrapped. It is pretty much, hey, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley's your guy, and if he's not your guy, you're going to adapt and you're going to ad-lib from that. And plus, you're going to be on the run, running for your life outside the pocket because the O-line stinks. So that's how this offense runs. It's still a little chaotic, but it is what it is. One thing I want to notice, I want to make a note of.
I mean, Jacksonville's basically got some time.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So one thing that I got alerted from my phone, and we're noticing our guy James is letting us know on our YouTube chat is Aaron Rodgers is out of this game already.
Oh,
like gone. Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of Josh Allen out there. I mean, yeah, with a foot injury. So I don't know. I mean, I've always been saying that, hey, like, is Rodgers going to hold up for the season? If he does, I think they got something. But that's a big ask. That is a big ask for Aaron Rodgers for the entire season. So that's devastating. I mean, I really don't know if they can compete in this game.
So as a
I'm going to say,
fan,
yeah. Go ahead, Triggs.
As a Packer fan, not that we ever want Aaron Rodgers or anyone to get injured. Like, that's just not how we think. But the Packers' first round pick they got for him, if he doesn't play 65% of the snaps, it's a second round pick. So he might be out. for a small amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you got to see too. I mean, if the Jets just completely fall off the ship, and it's a late second round pick, essentially it's a third round pick. So it is what it is. But I don't know, man. We'll see. Like, I got a weird feeling about this game, that this game is going to
No,
be weird.
if the Jets are bad, if the Jets are bad, it's an early second round pick, which is also like a late first.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Yeah, you're spot on. You're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that would be an earlier second round pick, like a first round pick, so that would benefit Green Bay as well. So either way, it's going to work. I think Green Bay is in a good situation with that deal. So it is what it is. But the big question is can, especially tonight, can that Jets defense get off the field and stay off the field for a good amount of time? That was their downfall last season. And I know everyone's like, oh, the Jets got a great defense, yada, yada. Well, they ranked really badly with us. Their bona fide number value was terrible and one of the worst in the NFL. And why was that? Because they kept coming back on the field. Sauce Gardner's phenomenal, but if he keeps showing up on the field, they're probably losing a lot of football games. And it is what it is.
That's no fun. No fun at all.
Yeah. So we got about 3 minutes left in the first quarter. No Aaron Rodgers, fourth down, and the Bills are lining up for a 40-yard kick on the left side hash. So that kind of looks weird, but that kick is money. So with all this going on, looks like the Bills have a 3-0 lead. So we got a long game to go for sure, but we'll see what happens. And I do not think all hope is lost for the Jets, because I feel the biggest addition for the Jets was not Aaron Rodgers. I feel the biggest addition to the Jets was Dalvin Cook, and that is what they need. They need to have a threat that can establish the run game and assist in the passing game. And with the additions they've made in the passing game, I think they can get by. It's a big ask. It is definitely a big ask, but I think that team runs better as long as their run game and their offensive line is moving in the right direction. Up until the Breece Hall injury, they were one of the best teams in the NFL. They were one of the best offensive lines in yards before contact. And the moment Hall went down, it dropped severely. And pretty much the wheels completely fell off the cart. So it's just not the same team if they don't run the ball properly. So I think with Dalvin Cook, I think they can make it happen. So we'll see what happens. As long as Zach Wilson just doesn't become a turnover machine, and they can keep possessions, they can hang with these games, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to me, not only did they get Aaron Rodgers, but they also got Alan Lazard, who was, a solid number one for the Packers, going to be a number
Yep.
two behind Wilson.
Yep.
McCole Hardman's over there. So they have a solid wide receiver core, too, on top of having two really, really good running backs. So all those playmakers can definitely make up for a bad Zach Wilson, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And they have your favorite tight end, Tyler Conklin, one of your two favorite tight ends. So there you go.
He's
definitely solid.
Definitely solid.
Yeah. And they got my former Raider and obviously favorite of Robert Saleh, Solomon Thomas is now a New York Jet. So I like that addition. I've always been a fan of Solomon. I like it.
Nobody knows who that guy is except Steve Metrics.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I mean, even coming out of the draft, the guy was coming out of Stanford. I think he came out of the draft the same year as Christian McCaffrey. So you had two cool Stanford guys, one on offense, one on defense. Really, really glad to see Solomon Thomas is still out there. So good stuff. I hope that really does help out the Jets, and they can if they're on defense, they can get off the field quick. So it is what it is, and looks like they are about to begin their offensive drive without Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see what happens here in a bit. But with that, we still got some more games to get to. Definitely one of my upset specials of the weekend. The Cleveland Browns against the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh man, I love my Cleveland Browns. They're probably my rah-rah team of the year. But very cool things we saw out of the Cleveland Browns this past weekend. Yeah, I love that box score. If I had the Browns defense, I'd go in no fear against Cincy. And just like we said, one of these three powerhouse teams, whether it's the Chiefs, Bengals, or Bills, is going to miss the playoffs. One of those three is going to happen. Not exactly sure which one, but I do feel fairly confident it's going. Cincinnati's probably going to be one of them.
I think I have a. Let's see if I can find it here. Pretty sure we talked about that.
Yes.
I can't remember which one of us kept Cincinnati out.
I did. I definitely did not have them in the playoffs.
Check it here.
In that division, I have both Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I have Pittsburgh winning. I know they got destroyed yesterday, and I'm totally okay with that. I still think they will be the best team come season end out of that division. But yeah, I still feel very confident in both Cleveland and Pittsburgh after yesterday. So I still got to watch the game, so we'll see what happens. But I don't feel too worried about those teams. I am more concerned about Cincinnati, and I'm still concerned with Baltimore.
Nice. Oh, it looks like I put Cincinnati in and you had them out. So look at that.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. But it was interesting. I mean, like, part of this does go back to my theory that I do see one day in the near future Dorian Thompson-Robinson does take that offense at some point, and can do more of it. I felt like the design run plays that Deshaun Watson did worked, but I felt like they would even have more success with DTR and even make guys more open downfield because of the more running threat that DTR is than Deshaun Watson. So it's going to take more time. It'll develop, but we saw a huge open space with Nick Chubb. He really gets around, has excellent run blocking, and even in plays where it didn't work so hot, like, he still manages to find space. Like, I feel like there's a real similarity between how he runs and how Dalvin Cook runs. Granted, Minnesota wasn't as good as Cleveland, but like, there is a real similarity between how those two guys cut on a dime and just really can feed their way past the first line of defense and crack it for like 5 to 8 yards like that. So that looks good. Elijah Moore is kind of getting more work into both the run game and that slot game. So to me, it almost felt like Elijah Moore was a more trusted receiver than Amari Cooper. That's probably the biggest takeaway I have for Cleveland is, as much as I defended Amari Cooper, I think he's almost getting relegated to like the number 2 for Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun really likes Elijah Moore.
In my head, yes, because that is you know how I feel about Amari Cooper. He is hot and cold for me.
He made his catches.
It's hard to tell which week
exactly
you're going to get the good Cooper and which week you're going to get the bad one.
Yeah, and he definitely has dropsitis every now and then. This game he did not, but this game he didn't really have a lot of opportunities. It seemed like they really wanted to sling it to Cooper. There was some Donovan Peoples-Jones I want to say there was another receiver who I'm not. Marquise Goodwin, I think, is a Cleveland Brown, and there was a really deep pass play for him as well at some point in that game. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any notes on Amari Cooper. Pretty much all my notes on offense are Elijah Moore, Nick Chubb, and their tight end Bryant that scored a touchdown as well. So that's pretty much the targets that Deshaun Watson goes to.
Actually, so it's weird. Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore actually had the same number of targets and the same number of catches, basically the same number of yards too.
Wow.
Elijah Moore was around 40, and Amari Cooper's around like 35, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's not much, but it's more of just getting a feel of how that offense works. I mean, I think the big takeaway is that defense is terrifying. Myles Garrett is going to be up there for Defensive Player of the Year. They also had a really solid corner. I think the guy's name is Delphi. Yeah, or Delpit. Yeah, I think his name is Delpit. He basically shadowed Higgins pretty much the entire game and didn't do anything. So, yeah, they definitely have some weapons on defense, and it's a really, really cool team they have there. So, yeah, definitely the people out there in fantasy who saw possibly my Barbie video on YouTube about how to pick your defense. If you pick Cleveland, it paid off.
Yeah, T. Higgins had this number blew my mind. T. Higgins had
Sure.
8 targets, 0 catches.
Wow. Yeah. So in the future, what you really want to think about is if you have a number 2 wideout for your fantasy team and you're going up against Cleveland, that guy's getting shut down, like for sure. And even what's his name? Their number 1, Jamar Chase. He really didn't have that good of a game either. It was pretty much him always outside. I mean, that's pretty much what Jamar Chase does. He does nothing really in the slot. He's always out on the sidelines. And nowadays they're pretty much double coveraging him. And if he doesn't get past that first defender, he can pretty much just be shadowed and be covered on the sideline. So there really wasn't much action out of him this game either.
Apparently, ESPN comes in handy watching Monday Night Football games. I don't know if you know, there's a big stink going on that Spectrum has lost all of Disney channels and whatnot.
Wow, that's interesting. I've also heard. I mean, yeah, I got DirecTV and YouTube TV for what it is, but I know DirecTV is even like doing something like where they're trying to like get back into NFL Sunday Tickets somehow, some way. So they're like still able to somewhat stream games. It's kind of weird. It is what it is. But like they still sponsor NFL content, so it's kind of weird what DirecTV is going through right now. But I watched a couple of the games yesterday on YouTube TV, and I'll flat out tell you, YouTube TV is knocking it out of the park, man. Like NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV is awesome. And I've always felt too like the picture quality on YouTube TV is stronger. So I like it. It's pretty solid, but yeah, there's some experiments going on with how they want to market this and how they want to get more viewers to YouTube TV and NFL Sunday Ticket. So it is what it is. But boy, that's a really odd thing going on with Spectrum for sure.
Most definitely. What's your next game that you've watched?
All right, So yeah, I guess the next game we got to go to
today.
Yeah, whatever day it is. I'm up in the wee hours of the middle of the night, just watching these games with insomnia. So yeah, that's me, all right. But yeah, let's go to my team. let's go to my Las Vegas Raiders, pulling the somewhat upset over the Denver Broncos in a game where this game was really decided by a Denver kicker not making kicks. They essentially gave us 4 points. They missed on an extra point to start the game, and then they missed a field goal later in the game. And as much as I like Will Lutz, even I noticed in New Orleans, there were times where like he just gets crazy inconsistent. And I know they've had kicking issues in Denver in the past, so Sean Payton brings his own guy in Will Lutz from the Saints, and sees what he's made out of. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to do things, but if I'm Sean Payton and the Broncos, I cut Will Lutz like today or tomorrow, whenever you can officially release a player. Will Lutz essentially lost them that game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, missing a field goal and an extra point, you only lose by 1. Big thing that I noticed a lot here is the new Russell Wilson. Basically, he's a dink and dunk passer like Drew Brees, which is exactly what Sean Payton looks for. But Russell Wilson is known to let Russ cook by throwing long passes. So I am not really sure. I don't know if it's just because of the receivers he has with Cortland Sutton and basically a bunch of dudes, or is it like Russell Wilson? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's honestly, I think it's a matter of time before he basically gets benched. I really didn't see anything that special out of Russell Wilson. I did see more flair out of Jared Stidham towards the end of that preseason. I I just don't think they're really gaining anything with Russell Wilson. I don't. But that said, that this is a sneaky good team. I think in the AFC, when it comes to making a push for the playoffs, I think this is a team that can do it. They have a good defense. They're really making a hodgepodge receiving core work. And to be honest, even if we came into the season and said, okay, their starting receiving core is Cortland Sutton, Menzel Mims, and Lil Jordan Humphrey, and they're coached by Sean Payton, I don't think anyone questions that. It just is what it is. I mean, yeah, you're missing Jerry Jeudy, but like they made it work, man. They made some plays. Greg Dulcich is always a solid tight end. He went out in that game. But that said, like their defense is stout. It was a very, very tough day for Josh Jacobs. I mean, like I've seen in the past, he's got almost that Kurt Schilling pitcher mojo going on, where he just gets better as the game progresses. But for quite a while in this game, it was tough. And then you also had Patrick Surtain's son, the second, shadowing Devontae Adams for pretty much all but a few plays in this game. And he dealt with him. He dealt with him between that and Jacoby Myers being really that solid number 2 threat. There really wasn't much action going on with Devontae Adams, except for when we got to the goal line and we had multiple opportunities to score, and then we fumbled the ball and give it. Or actually, it was a Jimmy G interception, is what happened at the goal line. I think that was the second quarter. But yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like there is not that big play availability that we had with Derek Carr that is now there with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like you said, it's a lot of dink and doink, almost like Russell Wilson's doing. So we'll see. We'll have to see more out of this offense, and losing Jacoby Myers definitely hurts. So we'll see how the offense evolves next week. And we are against these Buffalo Bills playing tonight. So yeah, it's going to be a little tough. No, James, I do not own any Denver Broncos gear whatsoever. Yeah. I don't wear no Broncos gear. Nah, I don't recognize that team. The only team that exists out west that's not the Raiders is the San Francisco 49ers. That's it. Yep. There's nothing west of the Rocky Mountains other than the San Francisco 49ers.
The one thing about Josh Jacobs only having 2.5 yards a carry with 19 carries was pretty nuts. Like, I knew Denver's defense was solid, but wow, their run defense is that's fantastic.
It's phenomenal. I mean, we can pretty much run on anyone, even with a bad offensive line that we've had in previous seasons. But it just wasn't happening. I mean, this is a stout rush defense, and if I recall, this is still Vic Fangio's defense that exists, and it's also a little bit of Vance Joseph's defense as well, who got fired like 2 years ago, and now he's back to coaching his own defense again. So yeah, I really like the team setup they have there. Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's pretty cool that even though you just got fired as a head coach, you come back to coach your defense again. I think that's pretty cool. So between Vance Joseph and Vic Fangio, they still have one of the best defenses in the NFL, despite having a rocky offense for most of the last season. So this is a team that I really think can absolutely make the playoffs. I know they lost, but that's a team that technically shouldn't have lost yesterday. So I like Denver a lot. I think they're a cool team. I don't know if they stick with Russ, but they got some good pieces.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I don't like their offense at all. Nobody on their offense makes me go, ooh, fantasy. I need that guy. Nope, don't care for anyone. Jimmy G did surprise me with an 83 quarterback rating. With that's a QBR that's worth keeping right there. He only missed 6 passes, one being an interception. But I was like, oh, I didn't even know Jacoby Myers was a guy anymore. But apparently he is.
Yeah. The one thing, though, that I do want to see better out of him, and I mean, I still saw this with Derek Carr, and I absolutely saw this with Anthony Richardson, is the eyes. Like, he absolutely has to get better with progressions. And to me, it almost felt like there were at times where he almost made Jacoby Myers his first read instead of his second read. It was like he just bypassed Devontae Adams entirely. So the people out there who forecasted a not so good day out of Devontae Adams, they were spot on. And there were at least 2 times in that game where Devontae Adams is wide open and Jimmy G just didn't see him, whether it was pressure, whether it was making the progressions. There's a play in the game as well. I don't know exactly what was going on, but it's pre-snap at the line of scrimmage, and Devontae Adams is waving his hands up and down, talking to Jimmy G like, hey, look at me or something. Or maybe they were discussing the play, trying to audible or something. But it definitely felt like throughout this game, they were not on the same page. So I don't know. I think it got better, but there's definitely that chemistry that is missing that he had with Derek Carr. So it is what it is. So yeah. So that's our Broncos. Yeah, it does. It does. But that's our Broncos Raiders game. And let's go to an interesting game. Let's kind of bring it back to the Wisconsin folks in a way, and bringing up the Green Bay Packers' next opponent, the Atlanta Falcons, who just played against the Carolina Panthers. That was some pretty interesting stuff. Man, Bijan Robinson is absolutely awesome. Almost my entire notes here on the Atlanta Falcons, it is a lot of Bijan Robinson. I can definitely tell you that. I know he didn't have as many touchdowns, but that guy is crazy explosive.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Rashawn Johnson, but no, I'm kidding.
That's your guy.
But you know the one thing, the thing that really caught my attention was Tiger. I can't even say this man's name anymore. had more carries than Bijan Robinson. And I don't think anyone
But
that
I'm okay
drafted
with that.
Bijan in the first round picked that to happen.
Well, that's the thing too, is like you got to look at this kind of how Tyler started last season, where like he had like a good chunk of the workload to like kind of start, and then it kind of tailed off, and then he was brought back into it again. He wasn't as explosive as Bijan Robinson was, but this goes back to what I've been saying for quite a while now, is that if you are a Bijan Robinson owner, you have to be a Tyler Algier owner. And you also have to take the lumps, and you have to take the successes of playing both. So like that's the reason why I'm a little bit trepidatious about starting these guys, is you can't guarantee that Bijan Robinson is always going to have those touchdowns. And you draft Tyler Algier because if Bijan goes down, you're ready to go with Tyler. So you really should be starting both in your lineup. If you think it's going to be a good running, good rushing lineup, start them both. Also, Cordell Patterson is hurt. So you don't have to worry about that third option in the triple option. Go with Bijan Robinson and go with Tyler Algier if you like the rushing matchup. Granted, if there's some weird day where the Falcons play the Denver Broncos, I'd probably avoid it. Maybe if they play the Philadelphia Eagles as well, that might be a matchup you want to avoid. But other than that, if it's a good rushing matchup, play both of them. Like, just don't be afraid. You got to go with the guys that score those touchdowns, because if they're not scoring your touchdowns, you're not getting the value out of them.
Another guy, which this whole game was just weird for me.
Yep.
You know, I kind of like Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders did okay for
yes, he did.
fantasy. But what about this? This is what catches my attention. Desmond Ridder only missed 3 passes, but he only had 115 yards. So it's like, is that
bad.
good? Is that bad? Did he just take what he had? Was it because they're winning? Like, I don't know. Like, it was weird.
Yeah, he reminds me, like I've said, coming into the season, he really gives me that Dak Prescott kind of vibe. Yet he kind of has the ability to like not really throw interceptions, kind of Aaron Rodgers-esque. But then there were moments in this game where I see him kind of like just panic, and then he tucks the ball and takes off, and he only gets like 7 yards, and he takes a big hit. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, is this Marcus Mariota? Like that's not good, man. And going into this game against Green Bay, like he has to step up. Like Drake London can't just be running around. I don't even know if Drake London even had a catch in this game. Like it's bad. I feel like they really
He did not.
Really, man, it's like they're hiding the guy. Like I feel like they're playing in spite of Desmond Ridder instead of playing for Desmond Ridder. And this is a team that definitely is going to have to figure out something. They have to bring in competition at quarterback. They have to do something, because this young roster that they have in certain pieces of their offense is not going to last forever. So they have to make a move soon to get a competent quarterback. And I think it was you who pointed out that they should make a good play for Lamar Jackson. And we'll never know. Like I never really heard them publicly stated, but I kind of think it would have been interesting to see what if Lamar Jackson would have been the second coming of Mike Vick with that Atlanta Falcons offense. I think that would have been interesting, because we still don't know what Lamar Jackson looks like with a good offensive line. We don't. We really don't know what that looks like. His body has taken way too many hits. We can already see it now today. He's not the fastest guy in the NFL anymore, and he needs a good offensive line. So I think they need to make an upgrade and get someone who at least has that caliber of a Lamar Jackson and bring him in. I mean, maybe even bring in that former Patriots quarterback we saw in the preseason. I'm kind of blanking on his mind, but he's got like a Lamar Jackson kind of vibe to him. So I don't know. I think that's what it takes. I think they need to change it up at quarterback, and it's got to happen soon. If Desmond Ridder doesn't develop, It's just not going to happen. He's got all the pieces to succeed, and he can't do it.
Not to get into our picks for this upcoming week's games, but if Atlanta play, I know they beat Carolina by 14. Woohoo! Carolina is pretty horrible, but if they play exactly like this against the Green Bay Packers, they will get smashed.
They will.
Like
they will.
That it just doesn't make sense to me that right. It doesn't make sense to me that you spend a first round pick on Bijan Robinson. He's splitting carries with Tyler Algier. Then Cordell Patterson's out there. He's injured right now, but you have a 3-headed monster at running back, and then you don't have a good quarterback. Your best wide receiver, your best weapon, got one target. Then your most explosive tight end that you put all this stock into, he's got 3 targets. So
yeah,
what exactly can they do? Because if you put Drake London out there against Jair Alexander, that's shut down. If you put Kyle Pitts out there with Darnell Savage or Rasul Douglas, that's shut down. Like that. I don't know what he's going to do because he's not Desmond Ritter's not that fast. He's probably going to get run over by Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness. Like they're in some trouble next week.
They are, and I'll already start flying my white flag and say, oh man, my green screen's not seeing it too hot. But yeah, the Saints are winning that division. Like it's going to be the Saints to win that division. My Atlanta Falcons pick, I don't even feel good about them making the playoffs at this point. It is bad. Of all the teams to win a game this week, between the Falcons and my Raiders, did not look good. Did not look good for teams winning games this past week. So that's my takeaway for now.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
I agree. Carolina is so bad. They shouldn't be in anyone's Carolina shouldn't win a game this year.
I don't know. I'll tell you this. There are teams that I wrote less notes about than Carolina. So I'm not going to say they are a total loss. I do like the running back combo between Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. So I like what they got going there. Their defense is actually fairly good. I give them props for that. I do think Hayden Hurst kind of stepped up. But the thing that I really take away from this is that there were no deep passes from Bryce Young, and it felt like almost every play was scripted with him. It felt like there was no ad lib, nothing like Mahomes-ish or Brett Favre-ish. It just felt like it was like, hey, if he doesn't do what we've planned and laid out like he did at Alabama, it's not going to be a successful play. And that's what I take away from Bryce Young. It just doesn't feel like he's an NFL quarterback. That's what I take. And his interceptions that he threw in this game were really bad too. I think he threw it to the same guy twice. Jesse Bates.
That's funny.
Yep. So there's stuff that's not good, but there are some good things with Carolina. So I wouldn't say it's a total loss for them, but I know they lost, but I just don't feel they're that far behind Atlanta, to be honest. It's I don't know, it just looked really, really bad. And I feel like this NFC South division is much worse than we really thought. And speaking of that, let's go to another NFC South team. Let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's as bad as I thought.
Oh, okay.
It's as bad as I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, how are they really going to move the ball downfield?
Just to put Carolina in the dirt.
Yep.
To put Carolina in the dirt. Bryce Young's horrible.
Yep.
Miles Sanders is meh. Chuba Hubbard's horrible. The top target getter in this game was Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
That's all you can say about their wide receivers.
But the Hayden Hurst touchdown is beautiful. Like that Hayden Hurst touchdown that he scores is a beautiful play. And it already looks like he's twice as good as a Carolina Panther than he was all of last season as a Cincinnati Bengal. And if that's not more to tell you about what is going wrong with Zach Taylor and that offensive scheme of the Cincinnati Bengals, like they better be looking to move on from Zach Taylor soon, because that Bengals team is way too good to be playing this bad. And to have a guy like Hayden Hurst, who's a big target, big playmaker, and he couldn't do squat for the Bengals. So I know it's a hodgepodge. And the other takeaway too from Carolina is, like, you and I both really like Adam Thielen, and he's been like relegated to being a Hunter Renfrow. He's no longer like the Adam Thielen that's running 60 yards downfield scot-free, wide open. Those days are gone. It didn't even look like it was. To me, it was like, oh, that's Isaiah Hodgins. That's
never.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a big bummer. That's something I'm really bummed about. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just another team that Frank Reich goes to that is just going to have a really, really bad offense, and it is what it is. I mean, that defense that Steve Wilkes built is really showing out that that's a good defense. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really bad team that has no ability to push the ball downfield at all. Nothing. So, yeah, let's go to another bad NFC South team. Let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Boy, that's a lot of words there to say. I mean, wow, to not like Minnesota, Adam, come on. Oh, he was like the purple version of Jordy Nelson. So like that's some good stuff there, man. Wow, that's a shame. All right, let's go to. Oh, we lost him. It's your boy. It's your boy DJ TRIGGS.
You didn't lose me.
He's gone.
You take that back. You take that back. That blasphemy. No. He has never been Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson is like never.
Oh, yeah. I gotta disagree on that, because I think when Adam Thielen was when he was at his prime, right before Justin Jefferson showed up, boy, Thielen was awesome. Up until last season, I really like Thielen. I thought he was definitely one of the best receivers in the NFL for the last few seasons. Plus, a guy like that to redshirt, to not even be drafted, to not even get a call by like free agents or anything post-draft, to be a guy who went to Mankato State in Minnesota, a smaller school, and then he just shows up at a practice and balls out and works his way up the roster. Man, is that impressive. That's pretty cool. That's like a Kurt Warner kind of football story to come up from nothing to being an all-star. So I like that. That's pretty cool stuff there. So yeah. But yeah, let's get off this Adam Thielen and Carolina Panther talk. So let's go to another bad football team in that.
I'm not. Hold on now.
Hold on now.
You wait a second here, sir.
Oh, okay.
All right. Jordy Nelson has 150 more catches, 2,500 more yards, and 21 more touchdowns. Get Adam Thielen out of here.
Hey, yeah, a much longer, much better career. I know you looked that up, but I would think Adam Thielen's best seasons are definitely up there with Jordy Nelson's best seasons. Only 12 games?
Only 12 more games. Yep.
Oh, only 12 more games. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much one more season, and we know Jordy Nelson missed a good chunk of a certain season because of a hamstring issue before he was a Raider. So yeah, that is interesting. Yep. So yeah, Looks like we got some
And
Bills
Jordy Nelson was
Jets and
pretty solid as a Raider.
he was solid to begin. He had like a nice 100+ yard game to start, and then he pretty much tailed off of that, and then the next season did absolutely nothing and retired. So it was pretty much it. I mean, he definitely coached up the guys like Hunter Renfro for a bit, but that was it. Was it? I mean, he was a very very good coach to those players to be a wide receiver, and Keenan Doss, I'd say. But other than that, it just was very small portion of elite level play out of Jordy Nelson. So just wasn't lasting that long. I mean, I think by the time he showed up with us, his hamstring issues were already happening for quite a while. So it's all right, but it was all good. So I think we got one last game, or actually we got 2 games to get to. So we'll go with one clunker, and then we'll finish on a high note. So let's clunk out of here with some Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Minnesota Vikings. And I don't know, like I think
Oh,
Mike
gosh.
Evans. Yeah, I mean, boy, did I pick a real winner here. I think Mike Evans really balls out, and I really like what we're seeing out of Mike Evans now in this offense, almost more than the Tom Brady offense to a degree. Is like there's really nice slant routes, there's nice fade routes, kind of the middle of the field. There were a few plays that I thought he really balled out in this game, but I still feel overall when it comes to Baker Mayfield, he's basically just the second coming of Johnny Manziel. It's all short, intermediate passes. It's dink and doink to Rachaad White. And how about all those people who said Rachaad White was going to be like the best fantasy draft pick in your draft based on ADP? How'd that turn out? Nope. Not good.
No.
So, yeah, not good. Bad pass protection there as well. So, it is one thing they're able to disguise with bad pass protection is Baker Mayfield is like, okay, he runs. He's Russell Wilson. He's Drew Brees. He's Johnny Manziel. It's here I am. Okay. Yeah. But like there's all this weird stuff out of Mayfield. I mean, I don't know if you remember Baker when he like really burst out onto the scene as a Cleveland Brown. I thought there was just more firepower. Maybe he had a better offensive line, but I felt like there was like way more firepower. And I always felt like his connection to Donovan Peoples-Jones was like if he wanted to throw that ball like 60, 70 yards downfield real deep, Donovan Peoples-Jones was his guy who would just be on a go route on the sideline and just go. And it feels like there's absolutely none of that with the Buccaneers. I mean, Chris Godwin is a really good receiver, had some really bad injuries, but it's like they just don't have a downfield threat anymore. So they don't even do anything. They stick to like 12 personnel, and it's a lot of dink and doink. It's weird. I mean, there's times where Mike Evans just gets loose, but that was all I got out of the Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers were terrible. Like this whole game was terrible. It was so hard to watch, but it was the only one on because it was on at the same time as the San Francisco game, and that game was over so fast. So like,
wow,
I literally was watching this game going, "Oh, at least it's close. It's close."
man.
I don't really care, but it's close.
So what you're telling me is that tomorrow morning when I watch this game in the wee hours of the night, I'm going to get my Pittsburgh Steelers heart broken by the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I spoil that for you? Because yes,
that's going to happen. I feel sorry for our guy Berto, Los Pollos Hermanos in our fantasy league. Drafted Pittsburgh Steelers like #1 defense overall, no fear. I don't know if he took my advice or what, I mean, I still like Pittsburgh quite a bit, but man, that hurts. That really hurts to lose a game like that out of the gates. And I definitely got some more stuff to take from that game. I actually have I don't know if it's a hot take, but I do have a take from that game that I think a certain player was undervalued by 1 to possibly 2 rounds. And at least in our league via ADP, we're talking that this guy went in round like 4 or round 5, I want to say. So we'll come back to this player tomorrow, but there's someone who did very well in this game and had severely underrated ADP. So like that's something we'll definitely hit on that game tomorrow. But sticking back with this Buccaneers Vikings game, there were some certain things I noticed with Minnesota. One is that definitely Dalvin Cook is not there. They try to replace it with Alexander Mattison, who I think does a good job. But this goes back to that Green Bay comparison I had from the Giants years, that Alexander Mattison was doing very well, but felt like he didn't get enough reps. And it felt like their offensive line actually got better. I felt like there was good run blocking in this game, but it just felt like there weren't any Alexander Mattison reps that were meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds weird, but so Kirk Cousins threw for over 300 yards. His
Yep.
QBR was 55, which means he was basically average for throwing 300 yards. Does that say Tampa Bay's defense is horrible, or that's basically what it says? But or they're playing catch up, which they weren't. And it felt like it was just force it to Justin Jefferson and hope for the best.
Yeah, I thought the Vikings run blocking was good. I felt that was probably the way to get through Tampa. And normally that's not a way to get through a Todd Bowles defense. But I did feel that Tampa had somewhat good coverage for what they were playing against Minnesota. I didn't feel like Tampa Bay had a bad defense. I felt like there were more problems on offense than there were that defense yesterday with the Buccaneers.
Nope.
But looking at Minnesota, like I feel like this is how their offense works. TJ Hawkinson is there, but something feels different. I know there's been some kind of injury lingering there. It's not fully disclosed. I don't get what's going on. It might be related to the contract, but there's something weird going on with Hawkinson. Jordan Addison is a true addition. And the way I feel this works is Justin Jefferson works both the middle of the field and the long range of the field. Jordan Addison is really that long range of the field guy. He's that deep pass. He's the weapon. He is the all-around offensive weapon for the Vikings. He's like a lesser Zay Flowers for the Baltimore Ravens. That's how I view Jordan Addison. And then KJ Osborne is a very trusted receiver. I do feel like he is that true handcuff to Jefferson. He runs a lot of routes, and he runs the short part of the field too. So he's your slot receiver. He can run the short. He can run the intermediate routes. He has a lot of chemistry with Kirk Cousins. So that's kind of how I feel it works, is like you have Jefferson for all around for the intermediate and big plays. You have mainly Addison for the big plays as well as being a offensive weapon. But then you have KJ in the slot. So that's kind of what it goes with. I did not know that Jordan Addison's middle name is Bono. So we'll have to look this up.
That might be giving us some looks into the future.
That's true. That is true. I think Jordan Addison at the end of a draft, if that guy is on a certain team of James, that could be pretty good. So, yeah. So James might be onto something with my mystery metrics player. I think I'll have to like do something with like a mystery metrics player would have to be like a football player in like a trench coat, and like maybe one of those like trench coats logos you see for like a neighborhood watch parking light signs. I think that's kind of what we got going on there. We'll have to get a player in a trench coat. And there you go. That's your mystery metrics player.
That's kind of creepy.
It is creepy.
That's very
100% creepy. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. That's exactly how it works. So yeah, that was about as creepy as watching that Buccaneers Vikings game. And again, that's like the second straight week of watching Vikings games and being very, very underwhelmed. And yes, I'm going to the preseason on that. So it tells you a lot. So with that, we're out of here with bad football games. And we'll go to the game that started the season. We'll go to Detroit and Kansas City. What do you got from that game, Triggs?
Basic Kansas City is in trouble. Patrick Mahomes looked like Kirk Cousins. Is that bad to say? Can I say that?
Hey, you can absolutely say it. I mean, I've been the one guy out there toting. I'm out there on my soapbox and my bugle, and I've been saying, hey, what is Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? We really have no idea what that looks like. We saw it as a rookie, but that really doesn't count. But seeing it for real and seeing a failure to really develop these wide receivers is now coming to the forefront. There's a lot of problems going on here. And you got these teams that are basically like, cool, we'll step everyone back in man coverage and we'll go like 3-4 high safeties and we'll just figure it out. We'll put everyone into coverage and we'll tell them to run on us. And Isaiah Pacheco is not going to do it all the time because you can't teach a dog old tricks once they basically get punched in the face like Mike Tyson. So, yeah, if they're going to be a Patrick Mahomes team, I think they're just average. They did get Chandler Jones back today. So that happened probably about 4 hours ago. And yes, QBR might be a made-up stat. It is not a metric made by Steve Metrics. I can tell you that. If we went by bona fide numbers, then we'd have something.
That's funny. So the reason I put that up there, so Patrick Mahomes was 21 of 39 for 226, right? He had 2 touchdowns and an interception. How does he have a QBR of 70? But Kirk Cousins threw 300, better completion percentage and touchdowns, and his quarterback rating was 55.
Yeah, and also like
I don't get it.
Yeah, and the pick 6 that's on Mahomes, I would not count that at all. I would count that as more bad stuff to Kadarius Toney because that guy flat out stinks. I've never been a Kadarius Toney fan. I've always thought since the day that trade was made that the Giants got out on the right side of that trade, and it showed. He's just not that good. So I don't know. Like I did definitely feel like even in this loss, I felt like Kirk Cousins definitely played better than Mahomes in that game. I mean, I feel like Mahomes, he's going to have a bono value that either doesn't qualify or he's going to be like 10th. And there's some quarterbacks that totally balled out. There's a certain quarterback that we didn't even talk about today that 100% could be our most bono player come tomorrow's episode. So yeah, like, even though I haven't even run those bono numbers yet, yeah, there's definitely a certain player or two that play on the same team that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So yeah. But hey, we got through all our games. We got some action going on here with the Bills and Jets, and boy, for what's going on here, I mean, coming into halftime, and looks like the Bills are going to be up 13-3 is kind of what I'm seeing here. So yeah, it's not so hot game without Aaron Rodgers, but yet again, it's the Jets need to be ready for this. It might just be a season that you just can't really make it with Aaron Rodgers just because he just hasn't been all that healthy looking lately. So see what it is. But Yeah, I think we got a lot for a show tonight. Yeah, we got through a lot of games. We got more games tomorrow. And yeah, we'll talk about some free agent pickups and whatnot and keep the show moving. So yeah. What game you got behind you today, Triggs?
I don't know. Let's see. Oh, let's do the old camera flip.
Okay.
The original NCAA basketball.
Wow. Is there anyone at all relevant that we would even know is in that game? Like I'm going to put it out there. John Stockton. Is John Stockton in this game?
Oh my gosh. Let's see what year this is. No, this is 1991. So John Stockton was definitely in the NBA.
Okay. What about that guy from Duke? That was it Taylor? I got a certain name in my mind, but I'm pretty sure that guy's an actor, so I'm not going to say that name. But oh man, I forgot the guy's name. But there was like a
Are you
ESPN
thinking Tyler Hansborough? Because that was 2000s.
No, not Tyler Hansborough. Christian Laettner, yes, Christian Laettner. That's who I'm thinking of. Yes. Would Christian Laettner possibly be in this game? Okay. So yeah,
maybe.
So that's about.
But I think this is one of those games where they don't have names.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's a real bummer. So it's just school versus school. Okay. And they probably have arbitrary ratings based on popularity.
But like the players are in the game.
Okay.
No, I'm assuming the players are in the game, but they just don't have the right names. But it's like not Christian Laettner, but like Chris Lattimore. I don't know.
Ah, okay. Well, we'll see. Cool. Well, definitely with the belts that I'm wearing for today's show, coming off a W, being a Raider, all black and everything, we're definitely going Megatron. Yeah, we're going with the Megatron belts. So, yeah, the dark side wins today, and that's a win. So we'll see what we can do next week, but hopefully we can present a scarier offense than whatever the Jets have rolled out there without Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see. But we do have to go to Buffalo. So that's another tough road game. But yeah, there you go. The belt. There it is. Boom. So I'd say that's a lot. We got a great show today. We got another great show coming up tomorrow. So yeah, that's what we got for tonight. So with that, I'm Steve Metrics. That's your boy,
DJ TRIGGS.
And boom, together we're No Debate Sports. And for tonight's show, that's No Debate.